Alright guys, we're going to be going back to Scorn of Antenolla Extreme for a more budget run. We're going to be only using rainbow units this time, although one of them is Neovision upgraded. You can substitute Laswell for your favorite DPS of choice, but he is a rainbow DPS, not a Neovision's base. And the gear is all pretty cheap as well. So this is the team we're going to start with. You want a magical cover tank that has some fire and earth resist, up to about 200% after a buff. We're going to be buffing it by 50% on turn 1, so 140 is good enough. Other than that, you want high hit points and bulk if you can. Here is the gear we're using. And if you're not using someone to buff status immunity, the boss does all 8 statuses, so make sure you're immune to the important ones if you're not buffing resistance. White Mage Rosa is going to be for breaking the gauge. Now, if you don't have her, you can use someone like Mastermind Zahn is an excellent gauge breaker. Neovision's Axstar is good at it as well, although if he's breaking the gauge, he's spending more time breaking than he is DPSing, so it's not optimal, but he does it as well. Other than that, you can technically just ignore the gauge and just DPS anyway. It would just be a lot slower, like a whole lot slower. But we're going to bring Rosa. She's dual-wielding rods, and other than that, she's just got some spirit and hit points. We probably won't win by turn 7, which is the big dangerous turn, which means we're going to use Rosa's re-raise on the team to make sure we survive that dangerous turn 7. So if you don't use Rosa, you probably want to bring re-raise if you can't win by 7. We're going to be using Sylvie. It's just an all-purpose general buffer. She can refill mana. She can do magical mitigation, stat buffing. That's mostly it. And she can re-raise as well. If you give her like Holy Rod, you can dual cast re-raise if you don't have like Rosa or something. So that's fine. But I have Rosa, so I don't really need to give her the Holy Rod. We'll give her some Esperfill to make that mission a little bit easier. Freedom of Seeker Vaughn is going to be our Provoke tank. We're not using passive Provoke just because I know some of you missed out on the Moogle Charm, you missed out on the Producer's Jacket, and it's harder to build passive Provoke. So we're going to use his active Provoke. If you do have the passive Provoke gear, then definitely use it. It just makes things a lot more convenient. But we're going to use his active Provoke instead. So because it's kind of mana intensive, I gave him lots of mana regen with, Invigorator, Arden's Hat, etc. Just so his mana stays up the whole time. And he's going to be our breaker. And he's full evasion. I should have mentioned that. Vaughn is full evasion, so he doesn't get hit by that dangerous attack on turn 5 and 6. And then the DPS is Pyroglacial Laswell. Because we're using a Neovision's Axstar friend, we're going to have the Axstar friend do the imbues for us, so we can skip elemental weapons. If you're using a Pyroglacial Laswell friend, like, 2 Laswells, you probably want to use either a fire or an ice weapon to skip the imbue, because he can't imbue himself until later in the fight. I would recommend ice, because ice is better than fire here, just because one of the leaves is fire resistant. So I gave him the general purpose card, the airship. This is technically not a free card, but it's not a unit specific card either. If you've been pulling new business, you've probably got the airship. Whatever. I don't think it's that big a deal to use the airship. And killers. Laswell caps stats extraordinarily easily, so he can fit like I'm using Pure White Blessing just for mana regen because he has so many free slots open. He's at 300% plant killer. And then Shift Form, basically the same thing. I just gave him lots and lots of mana regen, so I don't have to worry about it. And then Plant Killer. We are using 300% Plant Killer in both forms. And the friend we're taking is Epi, who I didn't even look at his gear yet. I'm assuming it's good. I just saw him on Ifrit, so it's probably built for this. It is built for this. Yeah, I figured it would be. Yeah, he's built pretty good. We're not even going to use the Shift Form, but here it is just in case. He's using double Novus Ember. I'm not sure if that's like he actually has 2 of those or if that's like the glitch. Don't know. But we're going to be staying in the base form almost always. 200% Plant Killer. So a little bit lower on Plant Killer, but it's not going to matter. Okay, let's get into it. So you want to kill the leaves first. They're called like roots and all that. I recommend you always kill the top one first. This one up here at the top, Antenolla B. B is the one you want to kill first. But first of all, we're going to use Rosa to start breaking that gauge to speed this up a little bit. And again, if you're not using like Rosa or any gauge breaker, it's fine. It would just be slower. Vaughn will triple. Actually, there's no point to even triple. We're going to just double. We're going to break and provoke. We're going to always use his active Provoke. Sylvie is going to give us a stat buff. We're going to also do a resistance buff. And we're going to do a status immunity because not everyone is immune to statuses on this team. Charlotte will cover and unlock triple. And then last wells are just going to chain. But the friend is going to imbue us. Whirl of Blizzards. Yeah, adds ice element. And then we'll do this. We're going to wait till Rosa finishes casting because I don't want to change targets and then waste some of these casts. Alright, that should be good. So we're going to start DPSing on Antenolla B. We want to kill that first. Now, if you're bringing AoE DPS or AoE chainers, this will be a lot quicker and easier, but because I'm using Last Well, he cannot AoE chain. It'll take a few extra turns to kill all the little leaf parts first, but it'll be fine overall. Alright, so there's some fire and earth attacks. We're at 190% resist, minus 100 from the Imperils. We're only at 90% resist. Took a little bit of damage, not really much at all, and we don't have any general mitigation yet. So make sure if you don't get enough resistance, make sure you do some buffs on turn 1. It looks like we're not going to get Charlotte's LB the second turn either. It's a little bit annoying, but whatever. Alright, I'm going to try to change targets mid-cast, if possible, to the bottom one after killing this top one. So we're going to do that, and then change to the bottom one. It seems to have worked. Mostly. Okay. Vaughn can go ahead and do his LB. His Provoke lasts for 2 turns. We still didn't get Charlotte's LB. I don't want to break the gauge on the boss yet, because we're not ready to DPS it. So there's no point in breaking it. I really want to get Charlotte's LB here. Come on, Charlotte. What's going on? I guess we're not going to get it. Okay, so let's do a Knight's Command and... not much else to do. I guess we'll do fill LB gauge, so it's guaranteed next turn. There we go. Rosa again. I don't want to break the gauge with Rosa yet. We're gonna triple. Let's go ahead and give some mana regen to the Axstar friend. Axstar is a really mana hungry unit, so that's kind of important. That's the reason I brought Sylvie, because I knew Axstar was gonna either need Sylvie or Rena or Folker or some way to keep his mana going. Okay, so if turns 1 and 2 are just the fire and earth attacks, we've now got magic mitigation on Charlotte, so she's taking even less damage. We still have no general mitigation, which you really got to have general mitigation by the 3rd turn, because turn 3 is going to be a bunch of non-elemental attacks. But we've now got her LB, so we're good to go. As soon as she calms down. Alright, let's go ahead and do that LB. Let's load up our DPS. How long does that imbue last from Axstar? I don't want it to wear off. Oh, 3 more turns? We're good. So we're just going to stay targeting on this. We're not going to try to change targets to be fancy. We're just going to finish off this one. Okay, so we could have changed targets in the 3rd cast, but whatever. Alright, we need to refresh Vaughn's Provoke every other turn. And the breaks on the boss. Again, we don't want to break the boss yet, so we're just going to let him sit there. I don't really have a lot to do with Sylvie right now, so we'll just do stuff, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Break immunity too, sure. Yeah, Sylvie's just here for the immunity buffs. Other than that, she's blah. Now you could do something like, stick Tifa on the team if you want to, but I wanted to show a more steady clear. So, yeah, like I said, the turn 3 and 4 is pretty painful. Charlotte got hit really hard. We've got her 45% mitigation up right now, plus her 50% general mit. And her stats are pretty good. Her enhanced stats. I guess I could just guard for the next 4 turns, and I'm going to actually do that so Charlotte survives. Alright, Vaughn can do his LB here. We can go ahead, let's go ahead and refresh the imbue while we're doing a low damage turn on the last flower. Oh, Vaughn broke the chain, his LB. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so next turn we're going to break the gauge. I should have healed with Rosa. I can heal with Sylvie, it's fine. So Sylvie will do some heals, and I don't know. something. Psst. Whatever. Oh, I should have done Mana Regen for Axstar. I noticed after the fact. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to use Rosa to break that gauge. And we can start doing some real damage to the boss. Finally. Alright, Vaughn. I think we need to provoke this turn with Vaughn. Let's see, Rosa will... We could probably just single cast this, but we're going to double cast it to be sure it breaks. And let's go ahead and do some damage with our chainers. We're going to shift Laswell, because his shift form is a little bit higher damage. And we've got this Magnus that is a bigger modifier. Okay, there goes the gauge. And we're going to actually use Sylvie to into battle on Laswell. We're also going to growing offense and growing defense. And we should have 2 more turns of cover on Charlotte. I'm gonna keep guarding her because these turns are gonna be a tiny bit painful as well. Okay, we're definitely not gonna win by turn 7. Yeah, we're using budget team. We're not using really optimal units and all. We're not using like Zahn and stealing stuff, but whatever. There's the damage on Charlotte. It actually is a lot more minor than I realized, so we're gonna go ahead and do her LB here. Vaughn can do his LB. Let's chain our DPS again. Looks like the chain broke again. Okay, so Rosa, we're going to have an AoE, a real powerful AoE on turn 7. So we're going to use Prayer of Resuscitation or whatever to give us re-raise just in case. Sylvie is going to, let's put up all of this and... Not that. Yeah, whatever. But we're going to use Charlotte's cooldown to help survive this next AoE. Alright, there's the break gauge. It would have been better, honestly, if I had timed it so that the break gauge was gone on turn 7. I think we're going to be okay, though, with Charlotte's cooldown. If we die, we got re-raise, you know. Not that big a deal, truthfully. I think we'll be fine. How is the friend looking on Spirit? He's fine. We're gonna shift the friend and use Axstar's Magnus for the cooldown. So we're gonna, for the power up, I mean, we're gonna do these chains and then his Magnus. That'll make him deal more damage as the fight goes on. Alright, we're going to use Sylvie to barrier here, so we hopefully survive even better. Rosa will break the gauge, which I should have done before attacking, but whatever. Let's break down and provoke with Vaughn, and let's see how we do. On turn 7. I'm just hoping the Axstar friend doesn't die here, that's all I really care about. I just used his Magnus. Probably in the worst possible time is turn 7. The only dangerous turn is when I used his Magnus. Big brain. Alright, it might be okay. Oh, yeah. So Charlotte's cooldown definitely carried that one big time. 75% mitigation, so we're totally fine. We can't shift back for one more turn. What is this other Magnus he has? I'm assuming it's like a big damage chain. Let's use it. Why not? Laswell, we're back in base form. Sylvie, can we do... Let's do Hop to the Rescue on Charlotte. We need resistance again. Now the rotation starts back over, by the way. And spring cleaning. Let's break the gauge. Charlotte will LB, Von. I think I provoked you last turn, so we can use your LB for bigger breaks this turn. Yeah, I provoked you last turn. Let's do this. And this time I'm going to wait for Von's LB to finish. I don't want to break this chain yet again. Okay. There we go. Now, I didn't heal Charlotte, but it's not really going to matter because we're like buffed up and all. Okay, so it looks like one more rotation, and we should have this boss dead. I probably should have shifted Axstar way earlier and gotten his Magnus online. Yeah, that's probably a mistake, waiting until turn 7 to do his Magnus. I don't have my own Axstar on Global or JP, so I'm still not super familiar with his best possible rotation. But whatever. Let's go ahead and shift him back. How's our Ice Imbue looking? Adds Ice Element. Where is it? Did it actually wear off already? It wore off last turn. So this is going to be a non-elemental chain to the start. But whatever. It'll be fine. Let's have Sylvie do... Oh, Marion watched over for me. Is not ready. Okay. We'll do Growing Offense, Growing Defense, and Protective Petals. Rose has nothing to do. Charlotte, Knight's Command, and do an LB fill rate, I guess. Von will Provoke. I guess it's possible we even win here. If so, we might win here, so we're going to go ahead and Ruby Light to summon an Esper because that is a mission. No, the Imbue wore off, so we non-elemental Spark Chain for the first part. Oh, we wouldn't have won anyway. That's okay. 2 more turns. Not a big deal. 2 more turns. So we'll win on turn 11. Okay, so this is, yeah, turn 8 and 9 is the Fire and Earth turns. Now we're going into the non-elemental turns. So I'm going to go ahead and guard Charlotte just for the sake of being more safe. Axstar is, as usual, just drinking mana non-stop. So we're going to feed him with Sylvie. Let's go ahead and feed him twice. Nope, not that. Just, like, really get his mana up there. There we go. You're good for the rest of the fight now. Alright, let's go ahead and just triple that. I'll do this after we chain with Von. Oh, I didn't even break first. It doesn't really matter that much. As you see, even with the gauge up, we're still doing like 4% a turn, which is not very much, obviously, and breaking the gauge is definitely recommended. But if you don't want to break the gauge, you don't like just feel like it, or you just can't fit it on your team, you know, you'll still win, it'll just take longer. I'm not entirely sure if you can win in 20 turns without breaking the gauge. Maybe? I don't know. Just overall, bring Rosa or bring Masterminds on. If you don't have either one of those, you can use something like Arden has a decent skill. You can also use Barrage, you know, old-fashioned Barrage. You can use like 3-star Barts or Cloud of Darkness or whatever, and it'd be fine. All right, come on, Sylvie. All these autocast. All right, let's go ahead and break the gauge the rest of the way, and we're done. We'll summon an Esper again just to say we did. Let's wait for Rosa to finish. It doesn't matter. We're done. We're good. She ain't gonna break the chain. There it is. Okay, 11 turns with a pretty cheapish team. You can sub out Lastwell with anyone you want. You can, you know, sub out Axstar with the Lastwell friend. You would just want to make sure you're both using elemental weapons if you bring a Lastwell friend. You know, a double Lastwell team. You can bring Nalu. You can bring... Nalu's not really the best choice here because the boss does resist Thunder, but she can get it done. She can work. Or any of the other big DPS, you know, whoever you want. Adele is probably fine here. I'll be doing another clear either today or tomorrow. I've got a plan. I want to try it. We'll see what happens. But there's the budget run, so hopefully it's been helpful. See you for the next one.